hurricane anywhere. I'm guessing that he's saying there's no hurricane I don't know. He's a hurricane denier. I guess so. I guess he's a look, folks, it's Friday. Sometimes I try to bring you the lighter side of the news and things that are going around in this country and the world, especially when we've got such an intense presidential and election campaign going on. This is what I try to do every Friday when I'm on the air, but that takes the cake. I mean, we've got... I'm surprised that the reporter didn't ask him if he believed in climate change, man-made global climate change or not. So they could at least try to label him as a denier. Well, this kid's a hurricane denier. But he's going to Brown, so he's probably some bleeding heart liberal who's just a total idiot. I don't know. I didn't... Yeah, you'll get the links to all this stuff on rodeccles.com after the show is completed airing. So, you'll want to visit that at about 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Speaking of 10 p.m. Eastern Time, don't forget this weekend, it's fall back time. We go to daylight saving time. Yes, I said saving. If you see it spelled out, it is not daylight savings. It's daylight saving. Meaning they're trying to save daylight. But we're going to daylight saving time, I guess. Is that what happened with fall? I don't know. All I know is you got to turn the clock back this weekend, Saturday night. Well, early Sunday morning at 2 a.m. is when it officially really takes place. 2 a.m. becomes 1 a.m. It's funny but that doesn't affect bars, though. I mean, it's 2 a.m. A lot of bars in a lot of states get to close at 2 o'clock in the morning. But if 2 a.m. rings to be 1 a.m. but they don't get to stay open an extra hour. So, in effect, they're closing at 1, but maybe someday somebody will figure that one out and try to help small business owners and bar keep the doors open an extra hour on that day. I mean, do you get to stay open longer if you're open until what? In some places in New York and in some other states, it can be open until 4. So, do you get to stay open an hour longer because at 2 it becomes 1? I don't know. It's a good question. I've never been in a bar in that situation, so I wouldn't know. But I do know that if you're in there at 2, which is now 1, it's still 2, so you got to get out. And not everybody in the United States, not every state and every jurisdiction in the United States actually falls for this standard and daylight saving time thing. They just keep the same time all year round, which can be confusing because there are states that are split. I think they're even, if you go into where Central and Eastern time zone collides in this country, I do believe that there are actually cities and towns that split. And where you can, I've seen reports on this where you have one business that decides to be on daylight saving time and another business that isn't. And they'll have the same posted hours, but one's on daylight saving time and one isn't. So they're both correct. So one is now on Central time and one is on Eastern time, and they could be across the street from one another. So that I know that can be confusing to people too. But just another government program to try to help people that really ends up confusing a hell of a lot of people. Just does. In New Jersey, a New Jersey power company denied Friday that it's turning away non-union volunteer crews who want to travel great distances to help reconnect power supplies severed by Hurricane Sandy. But an Alabama Utility is clarifying that it was the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, the IBEW, not the company, that turned them away. Utility crews from several states east of the Mississippi hit the road this week to volunteer their time and talents in northeastern states hit hard by Hurricane Sandy. But crews from Alabama got the shock of their lives when other workers in a coastal New Jersey town told them they couldn't lend a hand without a union card. Now, Derek Moore, who works for Decatur Utilities in Decatur, Alabama, told WAFF-TV in Huntsville that crews in Seaside Heights, New Jersey, turned him and his crewmates away, saying they couldn't do any work because they are not union employees. As a result, crews from Decatur Utilities, crews from Decatur and Huntsville, left the Jersey shore and headed to Long Island to pitch in. Now, WAFF's Mark Thornton reported that Moore and his co-workers are frustrated being told, in essence, thanks but no thanks. Another non-union Decatur Utilities crew is idling in Roanoke, Virginia, waiting for instructions from Seaside Heights. The town asked them days ago for help, but later told the workers to stand down. Now, folks, these are union people. These are unions doing this. This is crazy. This would be, this would be like where was the tsunami? It was in Thailand. It would hit Thailand, right? That major tsunami a few years ago. It would be like Thailand, people bringing aid and volunteering and bringing aid to Thailand, and Thailand turning it away because you're not Taiwanese. You're not Thai. No, we don't want your gift of labor and food and water because you're not a Thai citizen. That's basically what they're saying when you're saying, well, you're not union, so we don't want your help. Are you kidding me? People are dying out there. And you've got union representatives telling people who are trying to volunteer. They're not even asking to get paid. Well, that's probably the problem. If they bought a temporary membership card into the IBEW and got paid, then they'd accept their help. But since they're, we're non-union and we're volunteering, you don't got to pay us a dime for our talents and services and time. No, we don't need you. No, thank you. I believe that this would happen. Now, electric repair work for utilities in New Jersey is dominated by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, a unit of the politically powerful AFL-CIO. Many parts of coastal New Jersey are projected to be without power for at least 7 to 10 more days. And if these guys could even reduce that time frame by 1 day, why the hell would you turn them away? This is not summertime. You're talking heading into mid-November in the Northeast. It's going to start getting really freaking cold. And a lot of problems come along with cold. Not just, the main thing is humans being exposed to the weather when they don't have to be. 2, you're talking about certain pipes, property being exposed to the elements and cold when it doesn't have to be, in pipes bursting and causing even further damage. This is insane. What the hell is wrong with people? They're turning them away. Turning them because they're not union. Here's another story talking about putting the the New York Post. I mean, Katie Holmes and Surrey. If anybody wants to know, Katie Holmes and Surrey fled their Chelsea apartment, but they are fine. New York Post, just in case you wanted to know. New York Post is putting additional. This is New York Post, folks, putting the pressure on Bloomberg and saying this is no way to get us up and running. Generators should give power to the people, not to Marathon. And each one of these generators, it is estimated they could power each up to 400 homes. Now you may not think, well, geez, New York City, man, that's not a lot. That's less than 1,000 homes. Well, why aren't they? Look, they don't have to be powering homes, but they could be powering emergency equipment to help pump out the subways, dry out other electrical connections so the power can come back. There are so many ways that they could be using these generators instead of at the stupid Marathon. Now, there are 3 diesel power generators that could crank out about 800 kilowatts, enough to power 400 homes in ravaged areas like Staten Island and the Rockaways and downtown Manhattan and blah, blah, blah. And now Bloomberg has capitulated. And but still, there's no word on what's going to happen with those generators. I don't know. Speaking of New Jersey, I'm surprised somebody hasn't stood up and on the left and said no to this next story. CBS News is reporting that New Jersey is going to use military trucks as polling places. New Jersey officials say they will deploy military trucks to serve as polling places on Election Day in storm-battered communities, and are also extending the deadline for mail-in ballots. Now, the trucks will be parked at polling places that don't have power. Now, Republican Secretary of State Lieutenant Governor Kim Guadagno, Guadagno. I'm gonna guess that's Italian. They said Thursday county clerks' offices have been ordered to remain open this weekend to help process mail-in ballots. Now, the deadline for when clerks may accept mail-in ballot applications was expected until the close of business today. Now, voters must get them back by no later than the close of the polls on Tuesday. Now, Guadagno says it's unclear how many of the state's 3,000 polling places have electricity, but she'll know better by Friday evening. More than 1.7 million electric customers are without power. Oh, but by the way, your New Jersey power company is turning away electric crews that know what they're doing, that can help them get the power back on because they don't have a union card. Look, I can't make this stuff up. I mean, I wish it were that easy, but I'm not making it up. Unfortunately, I wish I was, because it would be a lot better if it were just something funny from Saturday Night Live or something. But folks, this is real, and that's not funny. It's sad.
This is not a message of happiness or reassurance. It is a crisis of confidence. The productivity of American workers is naturally dropping.
We aren't out there hungry, selling America. We've been a little bit lazy, I think, over the last couple of decades.
The symptoms of this crisis and the American spirit are all around us.
We've lost our ambition, our imagination.
Owning things and consuming things.
You go to a bank and